Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of No Woman Left Behind. I am Rosie Zilinskas, and I am so happy that you are joining me today. Okay, so today I'm going to answer the question that reads, how can a growth mindset help you succeed? Now, obviously, today we're talking about succeeding in your career. Well, the very first thing that you need to know is the definition between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Without knowing the definition, then it's just not going to make sense to you. Okay, Carol Dweck was a psychologist and she published a book called Mindset. I believe the first edition of the book was 2006. So Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck, again, she was a psychologist. She determined that there were two types of mindset, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So the fixed mindset basically says that your intelligence is static and that it's not going to improve or advance. It also, a fixed mindset also says that a person with a fixed mindset avoids challenges, gets defensive, or gives up easily. Maybe they feel like their effort is fruitless, and they hate negative feedback. So whenever they get negative feedback, they just brush it off or they ignore it completely. And they may also feel threatened by other people's success. Okay, so I'll give you an example of the fixed mindset in just a second. On the other hand, the growth mindset implies that your intelligence can absolutely be developed. Nowadays, we know that there is neuroplasticity, which means that in your brain, whenever you learn different things, your brain makes new connections. So the neurons are connecting and there's new little connections that are happening in your brain. So I am not a psychologist, I am not a neuroscientist, but I have read a lot about neuroplasticity. So when you are operating under the growth mindset, you definitely have a desire to learn. I'm definitely in that camp where I am constantly wanting to learn and understand how things work. You embrace challenges. You maybe persist whenever you have a setback and you take it as a challenge. You see that the effort, there is a path to mastery whenever you put in effort. You maybe learn from criticism and you are most definitely inspired by others' success. Okay, so I'm going to give you the example of a fixed mindset and then I'll give you an example of the growth mindset. Okay, in the 70s, there was this fantastic tennis player. His name is John McEnroe. And John McEnroe never took ownership for his personal responsibility whenever he lost a tennis match. Whenever things went wrong and he would lose, he would blame everybody else. The weather was hot or it was cold. He was maybe feeling jealous or he was distracted. Nothing was ever his fault. And later on, as he matured, he did say that back then he was just a hothead. I do remember seeing him. Yes, I am old enough to know that John McEnroe would have little hissy fits. So he would take his racket and he was like, throw it on the ground. And he would just not a great disposition on learning and growing. So that is an example of a fixed mindset. An example of the growth mindset is Serena Williams, also a tennis player of modern age. She recently retired in the last few years. But Serena Williams is a perfect example of someone that operates with a growth mindset. Serena, whenever she lost a match, she would take that as a challenge to improve. So she would use that defeat as a tool to improve. She also didn't dwell on the losses. She knew that she could learn from those losses and she refined her skills to continue to improve in her tennis career. She did not make excuses for her losses. She knew that anytime that she lost, she took the ownership for that loss. And one of the biggest things for Serena Williams is that she was persistent. So that those are two examples of how a fixed mindset and a growth mindset shows up in your success. So I want to go over 3 different points that you can actually implement now that you know the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So the very first point is awareness. You are now aware of the difference between the 2 types of mindset, and awareness is key for you to be able to shift into a growth mindset if you are in fact operating under a fixed mindset. The second point is what I just said. You have to want to make a shift. You have to want to improve yourself. So you may be looking for a reason or a consequence of what's happening in your life right now. And it could be as simple as, again, you are aware, you want to make a change, and you start auditing your behavior on how you were employing the fixed mindset in your day-to-day, but most especially in your career. And the third point that I want to make is that one of the best things that you can do whenever you are trying to improve in your career, you improve your skills, your knowledge, is ask for feedback. But I will have to warn you, whenever you ask for feedback, you must be emotionally prepared to receive the feedback. So I call this taking a lap. You want to take a lap, like when you're upset, you go around the block and you take a lap. So LAP is actually an acronym. So the very first letter L is for you to really listen. So the L is for listen. Listen to the person that's actually giving you feedback. So you need to actively be listening to whatever they're telling you as far as feedback. The A in LAP is ask for clarification. If they're giving you the feedback and you're really not sure on what they're trying to tell you, ask for clarification of the particular point that they're trying to make. And then the last letter, the P in LAP, is practice. Once you actually receive the feedback, you want to practice, put it into practice so that you actually take action from the feedback that you are receiving. So those are the 3 points that I want to make sure that you're aware on how to start implementing. In this example is implementing feedback. So that's really, really important. But taking action is so important. If you are now aware of the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, but you don't take action, you may as well not be aware. The growth mindset can absolutely help you succeed in your career and in life. So again, that was the original question. How can the growth mindset help you succeed? And that is how the growth mindset can help you succeed. If you want a step-by-step process or a strategy on how to ask for feedback, I would really encourage you to go to my website, nowomanleftbehind.com. And woman is WOMAN. That's nowomanleftbehind.com. On my homepage at the bottom, there is the Career Catalyst checklist, and that's a step-by-step instruction checklist on how to prepare yourself to ask for feedback. So go download that free resources or that free resource on the nowomanleftbehind.com website. So with that, remember to be brave, be bold, and take action.